So excited for today's video. I'm starting another series for my BYOP videos, so themes I can use to inspire or reflect my own custom eyeshadow palettes that I built from my single eyeshadows. And this series is actually inspired by John over on TikTok as well as Instagram, but I did first discover him on TikTok. His username is hello my name is John, and I will link him down in the description box, both the TikTok and the Instagram page. He does a lot of really funny content. He does a couple of different series, but my favorite one that appealed to me the most because I'm a designer is his "This is my favorite aesthetic." I love it so much. He just makes me laugh. He has the best commentary. So this is based on Carrie, aka Consumer Aesthetics Research Institute. They've been cataloging design aesthetics since the 1970s. They have so many on their website, and I didn't know that some of these had specific names. I do think some of these stand out a bit more as being very obvious, and some of them I think are a little bit more on the subtle side. So it was so much fun to look through. And to kick off this new series, I'm starting out with the aesthetic called Groovival. I will put up a bunch of pictures to get you the gist of what this is about. They describe it as the 1990s rehashing of 1960s hippie flower power aesthetics as both nostalgia play to boomers and an attempt to entice kids with bright psychedelic shapes and colors. So let's take a look at the palette that I built. It's definitely got a lot of pastels and colorful shades. I knew I needed a bright pink, a periwinkle, a more of a muted pink as well, of course an orange and really vibrant pastel yellow and green. And I added a black matte shadow because in some of the kind of illustrations of the flowers and the kind of loopy organic shapes, they do have thin black roll outlines. This palette has actually evolved a bit because the original palette I built had some more grungier tones and some deepening up mattes, but I kind of felt like it wasn't fully truly translating the vibes. I did feel predominantly these are the kinds of colors you see. There are some versions of Groovival where there are a little bit more grungier greens and oranges and some darker blues, but I really wanted to go for the dominant colors of the aesthetic. And for the shimmers, I do have predominantly more topple-like shades. I have one iridescent, one kind of semi-sheer, can be built up a little bit, and also this one, which is a little bit more buildable. So I'm going to list all the shades in the description box. So this one right here is kind of yellow with a bright pink reflect, and I felt like this one just went really well with these two shades. And then this one, I just love how glowy this one is. It is what I have on my lids, and I'm going to show you how I created this eye look as well as the blush, highlight, and the lip that I paired with this look. And then the third shimmer is an iridescent bright green flashing straight on shade, but very, very topper-like. You don't really see a lot of metallics in Groovival. It's really just about colors that are pastel to more bright and then are a little bit contrasting. So I'm really excited to start this series because there's a lot of different choices for aesthetics, and a lot of them are very different from each other. So it's going to be a really fun little challenge to come up with a color story. So let's get right into how I created this entire look using the Groovival aesthetic as my inspiration. Prime with the Ulta Beauty eyeshadow primer, and I'm first taking Capri from Devinah Cosmetics, and this is a brush from Fantasy Cosmetica, and I'm just popping that on my inner crease about like a third way in to my eye. Then going into this green, which is from the Best Mattes palette, which is a collaboration between Pharaoh Beaute Bar, Brittany, Huffman, and Ellie, which Ellie has a YouTube channel now, so I will link her down below, but check her out. If you love colorful eyeshadow looks, then you're definitely gonna want to check her out. Wiping off the same brush and picking up this shade, which is also from the Best Mattes palette, and that's gonna go on the outer corner here. And I'm just kind of feathering it outwards this way. I feel like it kind of stuck down. So I'm gonna go fix it, but just trying to mirror that same thing on this eye. And I'm actually gonna bring this all over the lid as well. And to put it on my lid, I'm using the Refer Mini 02, and I'm just kind of tapping it on all over the lid. Actually, let me just do this much, and then I'm gonna use this pinky shade, which is also from, I believe, the Best Mattes palette. I'm just gonna tap it on the inner lid here and kind of mesh it in. And I'm just gonna do the same thing on this side and then pat this on here, keeping it way too much from blending into the green. And then I'm just gonna go back in a little bit more here. I did go ahead and redo this eye off camera because the blend, I was just not happy with it because it's stuck down to the primer. Onto the shimmer, I'm putting down some Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer from me and Clionadh's collab, and I'm just gonna put that essentially like all over the lid. Picked up Pharaoh's Crown from, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking on the brand. It's kind of hard pressed. Actually, it's definitely way better with the finger, so I'm gonna go in with a finger. And I'm just gonna apply that all over the lid. Ooh, that is so pretty. It's kind of hard panning in the pan a little bit. So I'm trying not to make it too much worse. I definitely think this could be extremely shared out if you wanted it, but I did want it to be pretty opaque, which I did accomplish that. And then the other eye, I'm just gonna go in straight with my finger this time. But first, always tap it out. I am gonna use my pinky. Look at how vibrant, oh my goodness. Definitely a great choice. I feel like I can't get down to my lash line because one of my long nails and two, I did redo my lash perm and lash tint. And now they're like in the way. They're so curled. So I'm just gonna go in right in here. I'm gonna go back in with this periwinkle shade just to build it back up because I did wipe it off a little bit. As I put the shimmer on, I kind of want to extend the shimmer a little further out, but I think I'm just gonna leave it for now. For the mascara, I use the Beauty Cosmetics mascara. For the brows, I use the Benefit Mighty Brow Pen. It's the new one with the newer prongs. I really wish these were angled because this way you're gonna have one that's too long and you're gonna have to kind of wipe it away. I have the shade 3.5, and then to lock it in, I use the Super Lock from Maybelline. This is just clear brow gel. So the reason I didn't use the Blend Money mascara on my lower lash line is actually I'm gonna use this one. This is from Dior. This is Dior Shore Waterproof 258, and this is gonna be really hard with a mirror. I'm really trying not to get it on my lower lash line. I feel like it's really dry already. I haven't had it for that long, but I feel like I'm gonna have to do a lot of layering. I feel like it might be too dry. Okay, so I just need to layer it like a lot. So I'm gonna do the other eye off camera because it's really hard to stay in frame. For the under eyes, I used this Lancome concealer. I have the shade IVOW, IV0, maybe? Like Ivory Zero. And then I did repurchase the Pat McGrath Labs Skin Fetish Sublime Perfection Blurring Under Eye Powder in the shade Light. It's just translucent, brand new. Look at that. I did pan an entire one. I've been using this NYX one actually, and I have quite a bit of a dent in it now, but it's just not the same. To finish off the eye look, I'm taking the Periwinkle shade and I'm just gonna make sure that it's brought in underneath my lower lash line. And I'm trying to be really, really strategic. I don't want it to take over underneath my lower lash line. I'm using this Spectrum times KJH21 brush. It's so tiny and I really want to bring in the orange. So I'm gonna put it, I think like right in here. And just kind of bring it in a little bit. I feel like that'd be really fun. I love these two tones together. Actually the periwinkle with this orange, so pretty. I do want to do an inner corner highlight, so I'm going to take a little bit of the Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer, and I'm just going to pop it on the inner corners. I really want to avoid any sort of fallout with this application. I'm taking the Sparkle Shine shade from ShineBySD, and I'm just going to put a tiny bit in here in the inner corner, right when where I put down the Shimmer Shadow Enhancer. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit, just a little bit of a glisten. And here's the finished look. Finishing off the look with the rest of the face. So I'm going to be using the Milani Cosmetics Cheek Kiss Cream Bronzer in the shade 110 Hey Honey. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of it. I'm using the Spectrum B05 brush. This is very pigmented. And I'm just going to pop it right in here. Just up here. And before I forget, I'm wearing two foundations mixed. This is the Air Flash Spray Foundation from Dior. I have the shade 1N, and it is totally not anywhere near close to being my shade. So I do mix it with the Brisme Libre Foundation Skincare and Glow from Givenchy. And I have this shade W100. It's really great shade for me. And I'm going to be setting my face as I'm going to use a matte blush. So I really want to make sure that it's not going to catch in weird places. It's not really any particular loose setting powder. I have a bunch of setting powders just mixed in here. And it just makes it so much easier without having to have a bunch of different jars of loose setting powders. I just have them in this one giant one from ABH. So the blush I'm going to be using is from Amy Loves Makeup collaboration with Adept Cosmetics. And I'm going to be using the shade Mishka right here. I feel like this is going to go so perfectly with this look. And the brush I'm going to be using is the collaboration brush from Refer and Alexandra Anelli. And this is just such a perfect blush brush. It's really, really so good. And I do want to kind of get it up towards where my eyeshadow is. So it kind of feels like they're kind of blending in together, but not really fully blending in together. And for the highlight, I'm going to use the Super Shock shadow from ColourPop in the shade Candy Floss. It's a really beautiful, cooler toned pink. I'm just going to use my finger. This is usually how I like to use my Super Shock shadows. Sometimes I use a brush, but I just really like to kind of press it in. It's a very sparkly texture for ColourPop. They do have some that are a little bit smoother than others. So I'm just kind of tapping it on here. So for lips, I have two options. I have Fuchsia Flare from a Lime Crime Makeup, which they don't sell makeup anymore. They're just going to be selling hair stuff. And then the other shade I have is Disco Down, which is this purple. However, I was thinking of lightening it up with this shade from Melt Cosmetics, and it's from their collab with Bailey Sarian. It is the shade Lilith, and I feel like if I mix these two, I could get a really interesting, more lighter shade. But I don't know, what do we think? Should I do pink or should I mix the two purples? I feel like the thing is with this purple, it's pretty different now looking at it. But I don't know if I want to go in with this spray pink. I do have just one pink lip liner. It's definitely not the right thing, but I think it's going to mix fine. This is Jinx. I don't know if they even sell it anymore. Just going to do a quick outline. And then using Fuchsia Flare. I actually really like it, like a lot. I really like this. I think this is actually makes so much sense together, and this is the shirt that I could find that's the closest to this kind of vibe. I'm gonna try out this new setting spray for Mist Potion Makeup Fixing Spray from Carla Cosmetics. They did just send this over to me. Vegan friendly, alcohol free, unscented, dermatologically tested, and suitable for various skin types. So we'll see. I don't really ever use setting sprays because a lot of times they have alcohol. And it is winter here, and while I want my makeup to last, usually I don't really find that it does anything differently, but I also sometimes find that they actually really dry me out. So we'll see. I actually feel like I need to cover my eyes. Okay, it does have a little bit of a scent to it, but it doesn't smell like a scent that's like added into it, if that makes sense. Like I feel like it's probably what the ingredients already smell like together, and it's not very pleasant. So I'll keep you updated on if I feel like this did anything to the wear time, but I mean, it looks like it like really nicely kind of further melted all the foundation and the powder together. Here's the finished Groovival look. I really love how it came out. It took a little bit of extra effort to get there with the eye look, I think. I love the shimmer shadow on the lid. I definitely gotta dip into that one some more. It is just like glowy, basically. I think the next aesthetic I want to do is called Fruitiger Arrow. I'm so excited to do that one, but let me know in the comments below which aesthetic is your favorite and you would love to see a video on. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.